Being a scientist, empirical evidence is key. For all our models at Risk Insights, we carefully design our research methods to ensure the accuracy, quality, and integrity of the data we apply. Our ESGGPS rating tool shows an empirical link between disclosure and the sustainability of companies. Today, I have Dr. Nkem Khumbah, the Chair and member of the ESGGPS Independent Ratification Committee for Kenya and Risk Insights portfolio of company ratings. Dr. Nkem is a lecturer and member of the STEM Africa Initiative at the University of Michigan. He holds a doctorate degree from the George Mason University. Prior to joining the faculty of the University of Michigan, he was an assistant professor of mathematics at the North Georgia College and State University. He also held research fellowships at Institute for Pure and Applied Mathematics at UCLA and Mathematical Science Research Institute at the University of California at Berkeley. His research has been on the development and application of mathematical structures that facilitate the compression of massive data sets with minimal distortion to the statistical structure of the data. An avid ambassador of the International Scientific Capacity and Human Development, he was founder and chair of the Boyer International Conference Series on Mathematical Sciences from 2009 to 2013. Africa is key to the world and our planet. We have more nature and less industrialization compared to the developed world. We have a younger population, yet our economies are so fractured due to poor governance, socio-economic gaps that continue to widen, infrastructure challenges, and access to education is still low. Is ESG an important barometer for the continent and the SDGs? I would love for you to share your views on how Africa can use ESG to improve capital markets and assist in bridging the gaps that I just highlighted.
Oh, good. Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to be part of this conversation. And to touch directly at your question, yes, I believe very strongly that the ESG can and will provide a good framework for better understanding the corporate sector and better impelling them to be responsive to the needs of the continent. It's true that Africa, in terms of developmental prospects, is not at the same level as other parts of the world, and there are many reasons for that. But nevertheless, many of the theories and ideas and metrics that are used to understand African reality, African companies, African higher education, African developmental variables, let me say it that way. Many of these tools that are used to understand and analyze this are tools that are developed outside of Africa. They were developed in the industrial age, and they were developed maybe 50 years just post World War II, mostly based on Western economies. And Western economies have different characters from Africa. The idea of, the idea of humanitarian revolution, the idea of democracy, those came out of the French Revolution and the US Revolution. The Western world is more autonomous in how it deals with its society than Africa. And when you project these theories from autonomous nations to countries that are not that autonomous, that are really more dependent, be it geopolitically or economically on the outside, it becomes difficult to match result for result, conclusion for conclusion. So in terms of Africa, our material environment, our ecosystem, our democracies, our educational systems, they have their own specifics that I believe very strongly that the ESG offers a different framework for better situating and harnessing Africa's own resourcefulness and economic industrial activity for its own goals. So yes, I think very strongly that the ESG offers a strong framework, a much better, a much appropriate, a much more robust for Africa, a robust framework, a much more robust measure for understanding how should African companies, the corporate sector, How should African policies respond and advance Africa's own reality?
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Nkem.
Sure.
Thank you, Doctor. It was super to have you on Wind on the Week, and thank you for supporting Africa by contributing to the solution of our crisis and showcasing that we don't want to be left behind, and we are helping to solve our continent's challenges. Using data science and algorithm to solve problems is important, and at Risk Insights, we continue to pioneer risk methodologies for this new era of governance. Traditional methods and thinking will need to pivot in order to adapt to changes. I am Kunaal, Kalyan, and thank you for joining me on this episode of Wind on the Week. We look forward to seeing you next week. Stay safe.